Here's the deal. I'm a production editor at a small independent publisher in the US. I won't say which or where, so don't ask. I'd like to keep my job. The pay isn't that great, but it's an easy gig, and I like the people I work with. A lot of what we publish is what you'd call coffee table books. The kind people flip through when they're bored, but almost nobody ever reads them cover to cover. Bland pictorial histories of certain cities or states that sell well in regional gift shops. The occasional book of maps or a biography. A few museums outsource their gallery catalogs to us, and that kind of thing. The work is boring, but it's steady, and we get enough jobs and our books make enough money to stay afloat, which is a lot more than most small presses can say these days. Because we've been around a while, our name is somewhat known to history buffs and people who think they're an expert on such and such town in nowhere, Idaho, or some esoteric topic nobody really cares about. We get a lot of unsolicited manuscripts from people that really shouldn't be writing books, and unsolicited CDs full of photographs from people that shouldn't be taking pictures. Because we're small and don't have a separate acquisitions editor position, the job of going through this slush pile gets passed around the office. Very rarely, somebody will find something worth pursuing and pitch it to the rest of us, but our senior editor gets the final say. For the last 9 months, I've been working more or less non-stop on a book that everybody at the office was pretty excited about. Our copy editor found it during his turn with the pile. An old guy I won't name had contacted us out of the blue and offered us the chance to publish his rare archival photo collection, provided we treat the subject matter with the respect and seriousness he felt it deserved. To use his term and what was going to be the book's title, the photos were all anomalies. That is to say, they depicted something out of the ordinary and otherwise inexplicable, something that usually had an equally interesting story to go along with it. Most of them were from the first half of the 21st century. Like I said, it's not the kind of thing we normally publish, but the few samples the guy sent in with his pitch letter were pretty compelling, and once we'd seen the rest of them, heard a few of the stories, and realized that none of these pictures were widely known, we knew we had something that would get people's attention. The format was going to be simple and classy, with a lot of white space and breathing room. Each photo would appear as a high-quality print on the right-hand page, followed by a blank left-hand page, and then a couple of paragraphs to caption each photo on the following right-hand page. From the very beginning, the guy was a nightmare to work with, and the job took forever because he refused to send in more than a document at a time. He would send me certified mail. I would get it, scan it, and mail it back certified, and only then would he send me the next one. He seemed to think he had an extremely valuable collection and was hugely paranoid about losing it, so we only risked one item at a time. In the end, we spent so much money on mailing costs that it would have been cheaper to fly me out to where the old guy lived with a scanner and a laptop. We were maybe a third of the way through the production process when this fucking guy pulled the rug out from under us. Somebody had offered him a large sum of money for the photos, way more than what we were offering for the book rights, on the condition that the book gets shit-canned and the photos stay out of the public eye. We demanded he come in for a face-to-face and tried to reason with him and cater to his pride and desire for scholarly acclaim, and for a few days it seemed like it had worked. But when he got back home, he flip-flopped again and started cursing out me and my senior editor on the phone, demanding we shelve the book. He hired a lawyer who came up with some bullshit to void his contract, and then he threatened us with a lawsuit that would bankrupt us if we went ahead with the project and lost. To add insult to injury, the law firm sent this annoying IT guy to our office to make sure the materials were wiped from our computers, because the vast majority of it existed on my machine, and I'd spent literally months of my life on the project. I felt and still feel the most violated and bitter about the whole thing. Somebody should benefit from all that work, hence my reason for coming here. Unfortunately, I don't have the high-resolution scans I made of the photos, but I did keep working drafts of the original captions and 14 medium-res placeholder thumbnails that Core created as I was laying out the original version of the book. Don't ask me why we were still using Quark. It's what we know and what we paid for a long time ago. I'm not supposed to, but I occasionally take home the working Quark files to tweak on my home machine. The full file with the full res images embedded gets way too large and unwieldy to bring home with me. Most of the time I'm just experimenting with fonts and layout options anyway, so I don't embed the images until the end. Anyway, after all this shit went down, I discovered that I had a working file on my home machine of what we had done so far, so I printed a PDF and then stripped the text images from that PDF file. You folks will be the beneficiaries of that. Just to be clear, I don't claim anything with regards to the veracity and provenance of these photos. I'm not here to convince you they're real. I'm just putting them out there because I think they deserve to be seen and not hidden in some rich prick's private collection.